Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we are looking at what does the spirit of money want you to know. This is so fun because through my exploration of going to the spirit realm, I sort of just learned things as they happened, and then I would put them into practice, see how that fared, learned information. You get the gist. It was sort of a trial and error and truly an adventure, if you will. And one of the things I learned over time is that everything has a spirit, which initially I just thought there were some spirits, like of, maybe of winter or something like that. But over time, when I had this type of breakthrough, I was like, oh, so that means that just like spirit guides or other beings in the spirit realm, keep in mind, there's not just spirit realm, in spirit realm, there's not just spirit guides, there's not just animal spirit guides, there's not just angels, there's not just spirits of, there's a ton of beings you've never even heard of. But whatever that may have you, I realized that I could then therefore go communicate with them just like you would with a spirit guide. So over time, I learned there was a spirit of money. And fun fact, she's a she. That's how she comes to me. And I know someone else who talks to the spirit of money, and they also say she comes across as a girl, and we've experienced her in the same sort of personality. But keep in mind, everybody, when they are initially traveling through the spirit realm, they're kind of facing their own initial potential projection. So it might come to you as a little different. But when I experienced the spirit of money, so she's a girl, and she is extremely lively, very playful, always tries to talk about the importance of fun in general, and is someone who thinks that the rest of the world views money in way too serious of a manner. She's definitely somebody who understands that money is awesome and a great way to explore opportunities, but it's just a thing, just like anything else, basically. And I think that's a fantastic attitude to have. So I thought, with tarot, you get to really understand over time that depending on who you talk to, you get different answers. I thought, what a great way for all of us to explore a higher flow and revenue of money regularly coming into your life than to talk to the woman of the hour, the spirit of money herself. So we're going to be going over that today. Please also feel free to take this moment to give this video a like, comment. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that notification bell. It helps out like you would not believe. I really appreciate it. And in addition to that, I wanted to let you guys know that if you would like to support me, but also get exclusive content in return, I just posted 2 new videos over on my Patreon. One of those videos goes into the, I went to the Akashic Records to look into aphantasia, which is when you have the inability to visualize. And the results, as per usual with the Akashic Records, was wonderfully surprising, kind of took me aback, if you will. And simultaneously, with that, I also was able to explore and talk about and break down that while I technically am not absolutely confident if I have it, I'm pretty sure I do, I have actually over time overcome this. And what I mean by that is some people, when they initially travel to the spirit realm, it's very common that it takes time to build up your psychic ability of seeing. And you see in different ways. However, for some people who cannot visualize, they're like, how am I going to, essentially visualize at all? And I go into, sorry about that interruption, I go into breaking down how I basically over time became very good at visualizing in the spirit realm, despite not really having that ability in the physical world. So it's really interesting what you can do essentially through spirit realm traveling. And then the next video that I had is a psychic exercise that is with working with energy in a different way, and definitely opened up a really interesting conversation. I'm always into helping people develop their gifts and go even deeper, so if you're interested in that, it's available over there. But in addition to that, I also have courses available, as you will find below in the description. Tarot training course, intuition training course, which essentially is all about going to the spirit realm and more. And also I have a meditation training course, which is a thinking person's practice. So if your mind wanders, that's a good thing. We talk about how to work with it. All of these are my foundation that helped me develop my skills and abilities that I have now, and essentially I use every single day in multiple ways and have enabled me to open up other parts of myself I didn't know were possible. So if you're interested in that, that's all available to you. But back to what we were talking about, we have group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want you to take a moment to connect to the spirit of money. Just think about her. Be like, hey, spirit of money, what group do you think I should pick? What's best for me? And give yourself a second to feel yourself drawn to that group and then pick it. And I will give you 1 moment to do so. Now that you have, you can go down to the description to skip to your designated group, and I look forward to going deeper into it with you. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out, what does the spirit of money want to tell you by looking at the cards? Our first tarot card is the Star card. Oop, we are already getting a vibe with the King of Wands upright. We have the King of Swords upright, 3 of Wands in reverse, and the 8 of Wands in reverse. Yeah, I'm not surprised seeing these because we have the King of Wands. I'm already getting a clear concept of where this is headed, and I'm not really surprised with the spirit of money, and I'll explain why in a second, but let me just double check with them for anything I'm, unaware of, and look over the details and double check everything. So just give me 1 moment. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. So stick with me here. This card reading has an incredibly happy ending and has a sort of direction in life I think you'll really enjoy exploring. But it's going to start off a little rough, so stick with me here. Don't worry, the ending you're going to love. But we have to be matter of fact because sometimes it's really helpful to understand where we're starting and what's going wrong with that in order to better, I guess self-analyze is the word. I find it really personally helpful when I am aware of something that it's like, oh, so this is where I'm starting and I should be mindful of this, okay, and then this is where I can focus, okay, good to know where my sort of compass and lies, if you will. So we start off with the King of Swords, and just straight up you're being told that you're too stoic, that you're too serious, and this to me totally encompasses the spirit of money. It's really funny. They are very super lighthearted, super giggly, and often joke about how serious humans are about money, that it doesn't need to be that way. And in this case, there's a general sense of stoicism and seriousness about you that you convey more day to day. Not that you can't have fun or you can't be a silly person, but it's like, it's the perspective of like, I'm gonna get things done. Usually a King of Swords tend to be someone who is in charge of a lot of responsibility. Either they are some form of like boss or manager, but I would argue for my readings, King of Swords just kind of pops up with somebody who's like, I'm taking on responsibility, I'm approaching things, I'm very mindful of all my tasks I have to get done and stuff like that. But with that being said, it's becoming kind of an issue when we look at what's going on over here. This gets better expounded upon when we have the 3 of Wands in reverse. I was told that there is a lack of, I don't know if the word is like success. It's like the way you're trying to communicate to both the outside world itself as well as when you were in contact with people that potentially could lead you to more money and stuff like that, it's not coming across in a way that then therefore opens up more opportunities. Again, it doesn't mean anyone like dislikes you or anything like that. Or even doesn't completely understand what you're saying, but it's almost like, and this is how they described it to me, that there is a more truer, playful version of you underneath the surface that you're not allowing to come up. So you're expressing more from this outside, think of it like a shell around you that you're using as a tool to, in your eyes, to benefit you and move you forward to get things done, because this version of you is able to be accountable for multiple things at once, accountable for organization, timing, all that jazz when it comes to getting things done in your work field. But what ends up happening is there's both a difficulty when you go to express yourself, just like in general day to day, it's not coming across as you. You're not speaking from your true heart, who you really are. You might think it is, but it's really not deep down that playful, creative side of who you are. And the same thing happens when you're communicating with other people. People might mistake you for, and I'm going to just say this the best I can because I am just trying to give light examples. So take what I'm saying with a very, like a grain of salt. Don't take it too personally. We're just trying to give some kind of examples to make sense. It's like you communicating and you meet someone, and unbeknownst to you, they could be the person that in the long run gives you some sort of opportunity or promotion or gives you a job or a client or whatever. But when they meet you, they just don't feel like they can really connect with you because on some level, you're not allowing yourself to connect to your true self. And you might not come across as someone that they're fine with you. They're like, yeah, she got the job done, or he got the job done, or they got the job done. But it doesn't feel like they really warmed up to you and they're like, there's just something about them. I just like them. I want to, I think they'd be a good person for this, position or job or whatever. That's not coming to mind for them. And so therefore, they don't feel like you're the first person they think of to reach out for these opportunities. And it's also important to understand when we talk about a lack of success when communicating to the outside world. So the way we express ourselves, interestingly enough, we often aren't aware of how often we lean in one direction over the other when just, saying this is how you feel, this is how you view the world. Every moment that you're saying something, you're essentially saying to your personal reality, this is how my reality is. And there's almost a disconnect where you're not, maybe the inner more playful side of yourself is like, yeah, anything's possible. I want to have fun. I want to do less and get more, and those parts of yourself. And instead, you're kind of speaking from almost a tripled filtered version of yourself. So the universe isn't able to quite connect to that core wish, and therefore you feel that disconnection in your everyday life, which I imagine on some level probably deeply frustrates you and almost feels kind of like, what's wrong with me? I feel a disconnection to the world and my reality around me. And it's just something to understand that you're not actually doing anything wrong, but you would be happier and benefit, and we're going to go more into that over here, with exploring the deeper inner part of yourself. Now, that idea gets expounded upon even more, and remember, when we see in cards an idea being sort of like double confirmed, it shows the importance of it. So you have the Eight of Wands in reverse, which on its own is a very on-the-nose interpretation of what we have going on in the cards. And what I mean by this is, it just straight up says, I can see that your financial situation has sort of dried up, come to a halt, if you will. And when we're talking about money, often that's the case. People are wondering, am I in the flow and gaining, or am I coming to a halt and I'm stuck? Those are sort of the mindsets people tend to be in, which is understandable. So for it to pop up in the reading is not only very on course for everything we're talking about, so that lets us know that we are in communication with the spirit money, but for that to be a predominant issue discussed, I was asking, my spirit guide and the spirit of money, well, why is this popping up? It's clearly of importance, just other than the redundancy of the discussion being set. Now, I do want to say here, it does reflect the Stoicism. This King of Swords, he's not moving from his place. He only works from his mind. There's, again, a lack of momentum going on with him as a character. But over here, I was told that it's at the end of the reading because it's meant to represent this idea where there's a part of you that's trying to find this opportunity to make more money outside of this reading. As in, you'll be given, like, here's the answer, and there's a part of you that's still like, no, that's not the answer. I actually need to go start this new business, or I need to approach my, promotion in this kind of way. And you're just not allowing yourself to hear what really is the answer. And this is sort of a redundancy to say, at the end of this reading, imagine everything outside of this reading are these other ideas you have. And it's saying, listen, it's dried up. It's not going to work. It's not going to have any momentum outside of this. Stay focused. What you need is over here. So I think that's very interesting because when I read cards, I'm pretty open to being like, here's some stuff, but you do you, boo. But when it pops up in the card being like, no, look at this. Let's take it a little bit more seriously and look at it. So what can we expand upon this idea? Well, we have this going on over here. Again, a triple confirmation, but a more concrete answer. In the King of Wands, this is the direction you're going to move from here to get people better understanding to you, and I'm going to expound upon this in 1 second. But let's understand the King of Wands as a character in contrast to our King of Swords. He is a fun guy. He is super playful. He likes turning everything into games. He loves making jokes. He comes from the heart a lot. He's got a great energy. He's got a strong likability factor. But here's something really important to him, and something that I was being told will be of help for you to get into this mindset. I was told the King of Wands is a perfect figure for you to take a hold of, or really the inner part of you to come out, because he still gets things done just as much as the King of Swords. It's just the difference between him is he understands that sometimes it's actually more helpful if we take on a lighter tone of things. So for example, sometimes when everybody is in a more happy, peaceful mindset and they're a little more low-key, they end up feeling more motivated to work longer or work harder because they're more invested in something. They like the area they're in, so they feel like without even anyone having to tell them to, they want to put on their best foot, whatever the phrase is, but to move forward. He's also able to understand that sometimes time can bend and you can get more done in a shorter amount of time because, again, you're enjoying yourself, you're making a game of it type of thing. He understands there's a way of thinking and being tactile and tactful without really even thinking. It's almost like when people have special apps. A good example is like Duolingo, where you're learning a language, but it's meant to be very playful and low-key and not stressful. And there's many other concepts that are comparable to that, but you get the gist. So again, this is a reminder that you can still be somebody who gets things done and accomplished, but you start to see the benefit in taking on this mindset of somebody who's not just playful, but they believe in momentum. The King of Swords is not going to be moving from his place. He's going to find himself too self-important. He'll tell other people what needs to get done, and he's going to stay exactly where he needs to stay. Not understanding that as a leader, it would probably be best for him if he occasionally stepped into his kingdom and saw what everyone was up to and saw if there needed to be modifications. King of Swords is out there having fun, talking to everyone. In his lightheartedness, he comes up with better ideas. Sometimes he understands that to rest is actually to get more done. So instead of the King of Swords taking on the mindset of being like, I'm going to work every day for, 6 days this week, and that's how I'm going to earn more. And that's the King of Wands is like chilling out, taking off a couple days, relaxing. Suddenly on the 4th day gets this great epiphany that ends up making him more money in less of the time. And all the while he enjoyed himself. He's a very guilt-free guy, so this is important for you to be guilt-free. Whenever you find yourself enjoying yourself or in general exploring this side of you, you definitely approach everything with lack of judgment. If there's any type of messing up in your work, you don't see it as something to put down upon yourself, but rather see it as an opportunity that you learned something, and again, you laughed, you had a good time, and that in itself will benefit to more. So as long as you had a good time, as long as you were happy, as long as you were expressing the side of yourself, in the long run, it will actually do more than it was doing before. This also is a great way, going back to this Three of Wands concept, to get this communication going for you. And that communication is important for you, that it's popping up. We're not just talking about being playful in your mindset and approach. We're talking about your communication. So when you go to express yourself to the general world and universe, you are a lot more open, which implies to the universe you're a lot more open to money and opportunities. But when you're communicating with people that in the long run are possible connections for you, networking-wise, with clients, or promotions or opportunities or whatever, everyone will think, man, this person is such a good time, they're so fun, and in their lightheartedness we come up with great ideas and we just enjoy each other's company so much. They think of you above anyone else, because oftentimes, whether this is fair or not, to be honest, people will often choose people they just generally like over who is the more compatible candidate. Because on a, again, minor note, there are so many people that are capable of the same job. It is truly hard to choose, and that sometimes is the thing that makes them stand out amongst the others. And so you get the benefit of both feeling your best, but also bringing out that natural likability within you. Because remember, the King of Wands is a naturally likable person. We wouldn't have gotten this card in the reading if this wasn't naturally inside of yourself. Somewhere along the way you forgot that, and this is just reconnecting to you to that. But the same way we saw in the Eight of Wands, this sense of stop trying to think that the answer is somewhere outside of this idea and that the solution is to come up with a different project, work more hours. Stop. Come back to here. We get that triple confirmation over here with the Star card also being on the end, like this saying, hey, there's no momentum over here. When you head down the King of Wands mentality, as we see them both facing here in the King of Wands into the Star and then out of the reading, the Star card is meant to represent the sense of a path. And so this shows me not only a key to you getting more momentum with money, which is fantastic, but in a very big way. The Star card is not something to be taken lightly. It is a destiny-bound card, and it's this feeling of, and this just depends on if you've experienced this yet in life, or if you have, you would like to experience it. Sometimes when we are really in this sense of yes, this is what I meant to do, it feels like we are on a path. There's a sense of confidence and certainty, and like the King of Wands might not always know what to do next, but there's a certainty, almost like the Fool card, where he's ultimately, I know it's all going to work out. We'll figure it out along the way, but I know it's going to work out. So over here, the King of Swords, he's in his head, he's being tactile, he's trying to control everything. Over here, you're confident, you're relaxed, you're choosing to be confident, you're choosing to be playful, you're understanding that a little can be a lot, and you're letting yourself explore that and accept that, and ultimately, in the long run, it adds up to even more adds up to more than just money flow. This opens up many pathways, many doors. You might potentially be dating someone new in a few years, or be having a deeper, different kind of relationship with your partner just because you're exploring the side of yourself. You could go from somebody who is stagnant and just kind of works day to day to you regularly go on vacations 4 times a year, and you become someone who's quite world traveled. Whatever your dreams are, you're able to understand that and explore that a lot easier the more you take on this mindset. So I love this for you, because the Spirit of Money not only got you flowing into more money, but it's a win-win scenario where it opens up a part of yourself that you don't need to hide anymore, and it makes life in general more fun and easy. So again, one more time, just so it's absolutely clear and it's burned into your brain. When we have the King of Wands mentality, they are constantly saying, if I take a break now, it could give me an epiphany tomorrow. If we make this fun, it could add up to more dedicated, interested workers. A more positive work environment can equal better things happening. If I allow myself to truly be silly, more people will like me and want to include me in their money ventures. You get what I'm saying here? Let yourself have that. Don't judge and put any guilt on yourself. Let everything be a learning opportunity and fun and silly and explore. So I love this for you. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I would especially love to hear what's your first act in exploring this side of yourself. And are you excited? Are you excited to sort of let yourself be free in that kind of way? And please also give this video a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It helps out like you would not believe. I'm wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you next one. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's look at what does the spirit of money want you to know by looking at the cards. Our first card is the 6 of Swords in reverse, which is fantastic. Oh, 5 of Pentacles in reverse, also a positive sign. Oh, I love this reading for you already. 5 of Cups in reverse. Oh, but 6 of Cups in reverse and 9 of Swords upright. Okay, I already get the vibe of what this is. But you're going to have to give me one moment to connect the dots a little more chronologically, and also to consult my spirit guide and the spirit of money. So just give me one moment. Okay, yes. Okay, this makes a lot more sense. So, first we're going to start off with our main blockage, if you will, that the spirit of money was pointing out. And they said this is your main problem in the 6 of Cups in reverse. They said you're stuck in the past, both from the person, the person you used to be? The person that you used to be, as well as something socially, which we're going to get specific about that in one moment. But your headspace is holding on to this past version of yourself, as well as this past social circumstance, whatever it may be. Because technically you could have many social events happen. Oh, hold on. Oh, they said it could be, but mostly it's a singular social event. Okay, good to know. But as in, what I was going to say before I was, the spirit of money was telling me that, I was going to say sometimes we have multiple occurrences with like a group of people or something, and there's like memories tied around that. But what this is causing, this headspace you're in, is a lack of momentum, the spirit of money said. And that's something common that you'll find the spirit of money often talks about. They talk about how a big key to money is when you have momentum in your life, so does the flow of money go towards you. But momentum doesn't always have to look like actual momentum, like traveling or something like that. Momentum can just be like exploring who you are as a person, evolving, allowing yourself to develop new opinions, making new choices. Whatever it is, it's this sense of like you're not at a standstill in your life. And they said that this basically has you, I'm so sorry, has you at that standstill. Now, with all that being said, that unfortunately is causing the 9 of Swords in reverse, which is, it's just stressing you out. And they said that this stress is causing fear, and they said fear creates limitation. So we have both the limitation of just the lack of momentum from this headspace of where you're still kind of thinking from, coming from. I get almost like a pining for time period, weirdly enough, whether this be a negative situation or not. But with that being said, and your headspace creating this, we've got the limit here and then the limit here. Now, on some level, when you are thinking of things in a limited way, so does the universe try to communicate to you that you're doing that, and in this case, they're doing it through money. I will say this, this isn't always the case for everyone. You'll find some people are in a limited headspace and they continuously have a flow of money. And I think that this is mostly, well, actually I know this is from mostly that some people just didn't sign up for that in their life. They're like, oh, that's not how I need to have messages brought to me. But in your particular case, it looks like you pretty much, I mean, this is not a confirmation. This is, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, the spirit of money saying it is a confirmation. Okay, so it is a confirmation that you were basically like, how else? What's the best way to get me out of my headspace? Oh, I know. I'll receive this message through a lack of money. And basically it's forcing you to be like, okay, well, I gotta like face this, look at this in order to get flow of money. So it's a great way to kind of like motivate you, if you will, and really throw it in your face where you're at in your life. Now, keep in mind, we're not saying that this is not understandable, whatever caught your attention. And I want to point that out, especially when we have the Five of Cups in reverse. Just it being here at all, even though it is in reverse, points out that there was something that caused you great grief. The more I'm like feeling this reading, it feels like it was like a big event, which again, while the spirit of money and the universe is asking you to move forward, I'm so sorry, is asking you to move forward, that does not mean it's not saying your feelings aren't valid, it's not understandable that you were putting yourself on pause. When people tend to be trapped in the past mentally or emotionally, it's usually for a very good reason. But it's sort of saying like, lovingly, like, now's your time to flourish. Now's your time to bloom. Let's move forward. You deserve it. You deserve to have more in life than be trapped in this headspace. So first, the first key we have going on is the Five of Cups in reverse. And they said, basically, you need to do whatever it is you need to do in order to let this go. So this could be seeking out a professional to talk to someone, maybe just telling anyone in general, maybe you write it down in a letter and rip it up and get rid of it as a symbolic gesture. Whatever it is you need to sort of let it out, heal, face that, and make this deal with yourself that you're like, okay, I've gotten it off my shoulders. I'm going to do whatever I can to try to build what I do want. Because obviously you're not the happiest coming from this headspace. Now, with that being a big major key, and they said that this is one of the most major keys, it creates this. So this is more of a combination of a confirmation. It actually talks about if you have health problems, which is really interesting. But this is not only as a confirmation, but just letting us know that is the main important note. Because once you are no longer in this limited mindset, which creates more limitation or an energy and emotional headspace of limitation, you get into the Five of Pentacles in reverse headspace once you leave this, which is somebody leaving a headspace of lacking. And I did double check this. I said, are you implying that they need to speak in more like abundant terms and kind of like regularly put those mantras out there? I'm so sorry. And my spirit guide and the spirit money were like, no, not at all. Spirit money was like, if they just at the minimum aren't thinking in such a limited way and viewing the world in a limited way, they will have a flow of money coming towards them much more easily. Just at the minimum, that's taken off as the base bar. So that's, I love that for you. But then in addition to that, we have the Six of Swords in reverse. So first of all, this is a fantastic confirmation. Normally this card talks about the idea that things will eventually get better, because the reality is whenever we've gone through something really difficult, no matter how difficult it is, somehow by some way, shape, or form, and it is truly miraculous, we somehow make it through it. We survive and then we thrive. So sorry. And so because that is the case, the Six of Swords is saying like, You are going to ultimately always overcome this, which is really beautiful, but it does talk about this idea of slowness with it getting better, that it being a difficult road. And with it being in reverse, it says that road no longer is that way. It's no longer a difficulty to overcome it. It becomes a lot easier. It's sort of like a subtext kind of card implying, hey, what was once difficult is now much simpler. Which I love that for you. But the Spirit of Money, they said that this also talks about this image of this individual. They said when these two were leaving what looks like, we can see through the imagery of this boat being gone after, people tend to, in this particular case and scenario, they left a difficult position, but they weren't relieved. They still had sort of the weight of the world on their shoulders. And they did say that because you will give up this grief, so will go away, they said, your headaches, and they said any health problems. And basically they said whenever these arise, these are your sort of symbols and your notifications to yourself that you're entering a more limited mindset. So again, I want to be absolutely clear. It's okay that you were going through this time period of grief or being in a different headspace, but there is a time that you deserve to move forward for you. And this is not only relieving you of that headspace that you probably didn't really enjoy being in, but you in turn get out of a state of limitation you might not even be aware that you were putting upon yourself, because you were essentially saying to the world, I need everything to stop. I can't handle it right now. This is what I need at this moment. And you're now saying to yourself, I'm ready for it to continue again. I'm ready for that flow. I'm ready to be in all of it and thrive, essentially. And so you no longer being in these states of mind basically clears out your pathways. So you not only get to feel better, both on an emotional level, but on a physical level, and who doesn't love that money coming in? And I also find when we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse, this is also somebody who tends to release karma and also tends to be in this beautiful state of mind where they not only receive more money, but general like opportunities, free stuff, people just randomly give you things. So get excited that a not great time period becomes very good for a variety of reasons. So again, I really feel for you, and whatever it is you went through, it does feel, from what I can feel in the readings, pretty serious. And again, my love and heart goes out to you, but I am also excited for you to have everything that you truly desire, because you totally deserve it. Anyways, please let me know what you think in the comments below. Maybe this might be going too far. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, but if you have any tips or tricks to sort of comfort yourselves, or what you feel like you're going to do going comforting, if you feel comfortable, please share it, because you never know who's reading the comments and can benefit from it, because sometimes people feel too shy or don't know how to reach out, and you might have just the little tip and trick to help them feel comfortable to do that. And also it really helps people to know they're not alone, because when we are not in the best state of mind, fun fact, we are not the only ones, and that's not to downgrade anyone's experience. It's a comfort to know, like, hey, guess what? Many people can relate. So with love, I do request, if you don't mind leaving this video in addition to that comment, a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It helps out like you would not believe. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's look into what does the Spirit of Money want you to know by looking at the cards. Our first tarot card is the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Always fantastic advice. We've got Three of Cups in reverse, the Hermit card in reverse, upright, the Moon in reverse, and the Two of Wands in reverse. Interesting. Okay, give me just one moment to put the pieces of this puzzle together and consult the Spirit of Money and my spirit guide, and I will be with you in one moment. Wow, this has got a lot of random things popping up. I love it. So first off, most of this is pretty much around the idea of how do we get money flowing to you more regularly and change your relationship with money. So first we're going to start off with the Moon card with these accent cards, the Hermit card upright and the Two of Wands in reverse. In the Moon card in reverse, the Spirit of Money was saying to me that there is something that you are, and this is how they described it, dying to get off your chest. Like, you've been holding it back for some time. The Moon card often relates to ideas of blockages, blockages that you're acutely aware of, that you either see and need to unblock, or by unblocking it or removing it, by expressing it or understanding it, you therefore create this nice, beautiful flow of whatever it is you're looking for. This could be love, this could be money, this could be social interactions, this could be getting to know yourself, whatever that may have you. But I was like, okay, there's something in the surface. They are wanting to get it out and express it. Could you be a little more specific? And the Spirit of Money was like, yes, I can. And these are more specific cards. In the Hermit card upright, they said it's something that you are like acutely aware of, and you've really gone out of your way to hide it. And that idea gets extended upon in the Two of Wands. They said this is something that you really manage choices you make or your lifestyle around dealing with this thing that you're hiding. This could be a part of your identity. This could be maybe a physical aspect of, your physical being. This could be, these are just like a couple of examples. I don't want to go on too long of a list here. But the point being is, this part of yourself is something that is integral and keeps popping up enough in your life. Maybe you're like a really picky eater. I'm keeping it light here too. But whatever it is, you're having to kind of alter just the freestyle of living your best life by being like, how can I not have other people be aware that this is a part of me, or this is who I am ultimately, whatever may have you. And it's when you have something that you're thinking about in the Hermit card that intensely, the Hermit card is somebody who is self-aware, self-analytical. He looks within himself and deeply understands it. So this part of yourself that you're trying to keep hidden from others and kind of essentially limit who you really are by keeping it under wraps, it clearly is a beautiful and wonderful part of who you are that you identify with enough. Like, it's not just enough for you, you're not just thinking of it a lot because you're trying to manage hiding it. It's a part of you that on some subconscious level you'd like to more easily express. Now, I was told, because I was asking them, I was like, well, do they need to go around telling the whole world about it? And the Spirit of Money said, it's more that you need to stop curbing your lifestyle around trying to hide it, or limit yourself to make other people more comfortable. You're just going to live your best life, and then if it pops up where you're going to express this part of yourself, there's sort of like an ownership thing coming up in the Hermit card. Because when the Hermit card goes in reverse, he's not in reverse now, but I'm just talking about the full meaning of the card. He has really learned either information in general or something about himself, and he goes out into the world to share it and be like, guess what? Guess what I found out? Look at this cool thing. And people really admire that information and want to be involved with that. And that's very much what's happening over here as a whole. You're finally getting the release of no longer limiting yourself. And again, think of that limit as a reflection of limiting your mindset towards money, limiting the flow of money. You're just sort of having this naturally clenched part of yourself released, and then you get to beautifully feel confident, happy, but also say to the universe that you're open and abundant and unapologetically both yourself, but that unapologeticness sort of leaks into other aspects of your life, aka money, and you're basically saying to the Spirit of Money and money in general, hey, I don't need to hide from myself. I don't need to hide from opportunity. I don't need to hide from abundance. I don't need to hide from the best possible case scenario type of thing. And you're also setting a precedent to other people that if they don't fit in with that, if they don't either accept you for that, that they are therefore not in alignment with you and will naturally fall, fade off to the sideline. And so you're saying to yourself, I am awesome. I am worthy. I'm worth something. Not that we need to, I want to be clear here. The message is not that we define ourselves worth and self and success from money. It's just sort of, think of it as like just another metaphor. But you're basically saying, I'm worth more. And if you don't see that, then you're not in alignment with my views. So wonderful. Love this for you, because this is just going to make your life a million times easier. But because it is clearly such a part of your identity, there's this relaxation in getting to fully be yourself, simultaneously reflecting that into the universe and then bringing more of that money flow to you because you're in a different headspace and precedence, and basically saying to everyone else, this is the standard, you're either with it or you're not a part of my life. You know what I mean? Which I love that for you. Now, going forward, though, we do have the Three of Cups in reverse, and I was told that you're being overly social, that there's sort of an imbalance going on, the Spirit of Money said. They said that you're not spending any time kind of by yourself, getting to know who you are. Part of me wonders, this is just like a hunch, sometimes when we're overly social and we're hiding a part of ourselves, there's almost hiding in never being alone with your own thoughts and exploring that. And by sort of backing away a little bit socially, you get some time to get to know who you are and no longer hide, but again, have that flow of just being fully in touch with who you are. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret too before I expound upon this more. So my spirits often say to me, and this is such great advice, they say, put yourself first in your life. They said, when you naturally connect to who you are all the time, you're the top of your list of importance. What ends up happening is the universe sort of reads this, right? However we're interacting with ourselves in the universe, it reflects that in return. And when you naturally connect to who you really are, not only just yourself, but who you really are, whoever that may be. Maybe you're more introverted, maybe you're more extroverted, maybe you're shyer, and that's cool too, and you just are unapologetic about it. Maybe you're somebody who's more, really set in their opinions, whatever that may be. When you put that at the forefront, the universe says, oh, okay, well then, the most important thing that you should receive the most of is whatever your greatest desire is. Because when you're connected to you, you're automatically connected to whatever it is you're wishing and hoping for. So the more and more you put you at the front of your list by default, without even having to think about it, you're creating a faster lane and chain of effect with your manifestations naturally magnetizing towards you. But if you're kind of second or third on your list, so does other things take more precedent, and you'll see manifestations come around you. A good example of this is when we put like the job itself in front of us. And so it's like we see more manifestations of the job existing, but we think that if we put it of importance, that will create more money. But in fact, we've put, again, that in front of us. But if we put ourselves in front, then the universe goes, oh, well, they look like they would really enjoy some more money. They would look like they would enjoy more abundance, whatever that may be. So love that for you. So part of the pulling away socially is to find some balance where you discover yourself more. But sometimes it's about pulling away and just like in general understanding like what are some other interests and hobbies that you can develop without the influence of other people's opinions, and just kind of getting some more like unintentional meditative time just by having some quiet moments to yourself. So we're not talking about cut off all your friends and stuff like that. Just pulling back, finding a little more of a flow of personal care, as well as discovering yourself, being alone with who you really are and accepting that, exploring and enjoying that fully, mixed with everything else. And then last but not least, and I was told this is very important. I asked, is this the most important? And they said no, because they were again saying this is the most important. But they said this is very important too, which is the Four of Pentacles in reverse, and kind of gets expanded upon like a subtext, the Three of Cups in reverse. They said that you need to stop holding on to your money so tightly. They said that you hold on to it so tightly that you have these sort of moments where you explode, if you will. So you'll suddenly feel really cheap and want to hold back. And again, we're not calling you cheap. I'm just trying to find a turn of phrase. You feel like everything's too expensive. You're in that headspace of lacking. And then suddenly you'll, go out with friends and then you can't take it anymore and you spend way too much money on having fun in that kind of way. And they said you need to the Spirit of Money said, you need to focus, sort of take that belief system off your money. They said, you've had money be in your life and come into your life every day, every year, from up to this point. You've always had money. You've always been okay. And they said, and I love this for you, the Spirit of Money said, it will be a guarantee that you will continue to make money and you'll be fine. You'll be okay. So you need to sort of loosen your grip. But by loosening your grip, they said, when you feel you're out and about and you start to get in your head about spending your money on that little treat for yourself, stop. You want that little treat, go get that little treat. But in turn, also ask yourself when you're going out and having fun, are you overly spending it because you're so stressed out? This is sort of your way of getting relief? Like, is this really where you want to put your money? Or do you feel like maybe you could pull back a little? And again, I want to be absolutely clear here. It doesn't mean you can't have other nights where you really, go ham and spend a lot and have a good time with your friends in that kind of way. We're not talking about limitation. Remember, we're talking about just being true to ourselves and a natural flow. And sometimes when you spend all your money in this kind of way, that sense of like we're going out having fun and then putting it in that way, you don't necessarily feel the best afterwards, which again causes you to be more tightened up and then gets you in sort of a limited headspace. So what we're talking about is just sort of checking in with yourself regularly and going, is this what I really want to do? That's all you have to do, a simple question. So when you're feeling yourself being like, oh, I'd love that little coffee, you'd say to yourself, I do really want it. And then you go and have it and you enjoy your little coffee. But then simultaneously, when you're going out with your friends and you're starting to feel like you're about to spend a lot of money, you stop yourself and say, I think I'll just get one thing for myself. I think I'll just go to one place to hang out. And then you kind of stop yourself and say, I'll do more another weekend. Or I'll see you a couple days from now and we'll do something else. And you kind of pull back, again, not to pull back for the fun, but you're just aware that you don't need to spend that much to have so much fun. And again, this is just you checking in with yourself with what you want moment to moment. It could change and be the opposite the next week. But I love this for you because ultimately, you're really getting to be who you truly are, both on a deep, secretive level, but also on a sort of like introspective as well as wish-fulfilling level. And I love this for you. There's definitely a sense of balance going on in this reading. It's interesting that we didn't get the Justice card, but I would say the subtext for this reading is balance, because there's times where you sort of are holding yourself up, either here and here, definitely a reflection going on the card. Again, back to what we were saying in the beginning of the reading, you can really see how we feel reflects into other aspects of our life, but also simultaneously getting to be in our natural flow by understanding when to let loose and when we're not necessarily holding ourselves back, but realizing we're not finding happiness and expressing it in that kind of way. You know what I mean? And so I love this for you because not only is this a flow of abundance and money coming into your life, but you feel healthier and happier about money. And this is a really important one, you feel better about being you unapologetically, and you completely deserve to be that. Remember, this is a crucial part of yourself you think about often. So let yourself be you. You will be loved and accepted, every aspect of that self. And people who do not align with that are like bad opportunities you wouldn't want to get involved with anyways. And so, good. Go away. You're not in alignment. I'm only welcoming in good stuff in my life. So I love this for you. I'm so excited for you. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. What's the first way you're going to lighten up with your grip hold on your money? Or how are you going to start expressing yourself and being open in that kind of manner? And please give this video a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Helps out like you would not believe. I look forward to seeing the next one. And let's get ready for our final group. Group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out. What does the Spirit of Money want to tell you by looking at the cards? Our first tarot card is the Wheel of Fortune. I really like this card or this interpretation. I don't know if you feel that way too when you're reading tarot for yourself or other people. Or if you're enjoying, actually, I would love to know in the comments below, do you have like a particular deck that you enjoy me working with? I'd love to know. Well, I should ask that on the community page and maybe do a reading just with that deck because, you know, people like it so much. Anyways, with this reading, I just love people's different interpretations of the cards, and I really like this one. We have the Two of Swords upright. We have the Lover's card in reverse. I'm very curious what this one means. We have the Nine of Wands upright. Okay, now I'm really curious. And we have the Three of Cups in reverse. Okay, give me just one moment to look at the details of everything and put this all together and consult the Spirit of Money and my spirit guide. And I will be with you in one moment. Okay, this one's definitely one that I did not anticipate in the best possible way, and I find it quite curious in a good way. So first we've got the Lover's card in reverse, and my spirit guide, Spirit of Money on this one said that this is the issue based on self-care, and that essentially you're more focused on what other people can offer you rather than focusing on what you can offer yourself. And just, I don't even know if it's like what to offer yourself. It's more the focus of just like taking care of yourself, being more focused on yourself in that kind of way. Now, this is just a really random thing to pop up, but it gets even more curious when we look over here. In the Nine of Wands upright, the Spirit of Money described this as you kind of looking at everything that you've ever had to offer. And think of this as when you're being entangled with other people. This could be romantically, this could be socially, whatever. And there's a certain part of yourself that's like proud of it. You're cool with what it is that you are. And there's a certain level of self-confidence there, which is fantastic. I'm happy for you. But there's still this hesitancy, like something could happen to it. You're a little on your guard about it. There's some part of yourself that's like, what if this gets messed with type of thing. And then gets even more curious. It expands upon over here in the Three of Cups in reverse. They said that what each sort of card is influencing the next, leading up to this card in reverse, there are some social interactions or like social connections that have not been great for you. Usually the Three of Cups in reverse shows like, it usually talks about flaky friends, like people who are really magnetized to your light and then kind of ditch you after 6 months because they got whatever they wanted from you and they move on type of thing. No, nothing you did wrong, just unfortunately that's the way they operate. But I'm getting more of like a broader scale of people that are not the best connections for you. It doesn't feel like they're so sinister and they're really against you or anything like that. It's more that people have different like motives or what they want in life, and they might not be as present for you in the way you're hoping them to be. They might be present for you for their own sake and then get bored of that and move on, or kind of confuse you in the process, or maybe you feel influenced by them and it's not the influence and direction you'd ultimately want to go through. But these not great connections mixed with already feeling like a little naturally defensive of what you have or are happy you've cultivated but you're trying to protect, but it's like you're weirdly putting yourself in a precarious situation, is all leading to this confusing roundabout for yourself where you're like, what can these other people have to offer me? But also I'm afraid of what they'll do because I like who I am and who I have to offer. But then you're also actively moving towards people in directions that on some level there's an excitement towards going towards them, but do they know that they're not the best options? Oh, the spirit of money gave me a face like lowered her head, and she was like, they know. So there you go. We're going to come back to this, though, because I'd like to expand upon this a little more in the reading. But what's so interesting about it is we have the Two of Swords upright. Now, traditionally, this talks about the idea of making a decision just in general. But the spirit of money was actually talking about how it's not so much a decision needing to be made is the problem. Well, it is, but it's more, we want to look at these sort of lines going off the page. Think of the swords as sort of a mindset and the lines being an energy. There's a self-awareness you have that when you pick a particular mindset, this then cultivates an energy, which then creates a path, and then you go down that path. So it's like there is a decision being made, but there's a self-awareness of whatever mindset you're taking on being the creation of said path. And there's a part of you that's kind of at a standstill of which one to choose, which makes sense again with that idea of the self-care compared to the other people. Now, again, I want to be clear, we're not talking about ditching other people or building connections with other people, romantic or social wise. We're not saying that. We're just saying that it's like the way you're approaching the whole thing. Because this idea gets expanded upon even more, and this, again, I know this all sounds complex, we're going to simplify it really soon. But one of those options, and the way the spirit of money said, the option that's going to give you the most continuous amount of money is over here in the Wheel of Fortune upright. So they said that this path is creating this weird influx of like, you have a lot of money, suddenly you have no money. You have a lot of money, you have suddenly no money. And it's this up and down path. And the reason it is like that is because of this part of yourself that does have inner confidence and likes who they are and does have wonderful things that they feel totally excited to share with other people. But you keep putting yourself both in precarious positions, and you're kind of doing it for reasons that don't feel genuine to who you are. You're not just like making connections to make connections. Again, the intention we talked about, what can other people offer you, rather than just being more focused on, when we talk about self-care, think of it like, I love myself, and because I love myself, I want to be with people that get me. And that because you're in that headspace, you therefore not only get to keep the confidence of who you are and what you have to offer, but you attract better social engagements with better intentions. They have better intentions and you have better intentions for yourself. And because you're more focused on the what can other people offer me in this whole up and down headspace, this is then when we have this influx of money, and it doesn't feel very fun to be on that roller coaster for you. The path that you can ultimately choose by choosing a particular type of mindset, which then creates the energy, which then creates the path, is a little difficult for you to choose, because while it ultimately will give you financial consistency, it is difficult because there's a certain level of yourself that has to surrender to it. The spirit of money told me that initially when you choose this path, it will feel like you're giving up a little bit of your power, and obviously you don't want to do that, but ultimately you're going to realize that that's not what's happening. This would be a similar concept of like, let's say you're really into fashion, right? And then you join a fashion magazine. And initially it feels frustrating because you're having to work with all these other people, and they suddenly are acting as if they're more important than you, and you having to kind of sacrifice some of your skills and talent in order to work into a larger group. Feels like this feeling of everyone else is in control other than you. But in reality, over time, as you get out of that headspace, you realize that this fashion magazine wouldn't exist if it wasn't for each person to bring their headspace. And soon it no longer feels like you're surrendering to power, but you're a part of the power. And there's a sense of confidence that comes with that power existing because it couldn't exist without you being a part of it. That'd be like an example of this feeling. It's this feeling of surrendering. But something that I always find really interesting is often to remove the things out of our way to create a nice open flow of where we need to go, essentially, when doing this, is we're approaching parts of ourselves that we sort of either need to heal or deal with or whatever. So the big things I see popping up for you is that's so great that you love yourself and you do know how special you are. That's a really wonderful thing that we're all trying to connect to consistently in our life. That's fantastic. It's more just like there's a part of yourself that is still a little concerned with, I have all of this, I want to do something with this part of myself, and not really sure where to put it directionally. And when you choose one direction, so we can think of that one direction as having a certain headspace with the intention that feels less focused on yourself and more dependent on others, this is then when we get that reciprocated in a directionless kind of way through the social people coming in your life. They too are directionless when interacting with you. But then when we have a part of yourself that's focused, knows your worth, and is more working with something else, someone else, whatever may have you, when it comes to that initial feeling of surrendering that part of yourself, you actually end up getting to really understand, explore, and acknowledge your full power. And this is a big part, that part of yourself that needs to surrender, and understand that surrendering doesn't mean giving up your own personal power, but in fact enhancing it in a way you might not have thought before. It's almost like you're rewriting the way you interact socially and understanding that sometimes the world can make things appear very black and white, like you're either independent or you work with a group and you don't have personal power. But no one said you can't have personal power within a conglomerate. So remember, this is not forever. This is just an exercise that you're sort of teaching yourself in order to not only create a nice consistent flow of money, but you're understanding the true limitlessness of your power and building upon something that you so wonderfully created, because the Nine of Wands is someone who took a while to understand that they're a special person. And this is you entering a field that is more in alignment and builds upon that. But remember, it's a mindset and a dedication that then creates this path and gets you on it and creates that consistency. To keep going in this direction is to pick that path. You can't kind of bounce back and forth. You need to be more clear of saying, this is where I'm going to go. This is the headspace I'm in. This is what I want to attract into my life. So I love this for you. And keep in mind, this mindset doesn't mean there isn't going to be other romantic and social engagements and connections and stuff like that. It's just approached in a different manner. So I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below, please. This one was really just not what I anticipated in the best possible way. I love surprises like that as a reader. And also, please leave this video a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. How's that like you would not believe? I'm wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And goodbye.